Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for joining us again for another Horological Happy Hour. I'm Justin.
I'm Rob.
And we're really excited to be back with you guys. We have a really great show. We're going to go ahead and talk about some new arrivals this week. We're going to talk about our favorite watches from the 1950s. And also we have a really great interview with founder and president of European watch company, Albert Ganjei.
This one has been a long time coming too. It's something we've wanted to do for a while, is start to get all of the amazing people here at the store out there for you guys so that you can start meeting everybody, because we have a really wonderful collection of people here. It's
we have
unlike
we have a really eclectic group of people, and like Rob said, we want to introduce them to everybody because we think that you guys should know our team. So we're going to continue to do that, but we thought what better place to start than at the top with Albert himself. So
speaking
Rob,
of starting,
yeah, exactly. Make this happy hour happy, please.
Let's start it.
As usual,
pouring the fabulous Lagavulin 16.
Delicious nectar of the gods. Hopefully, you guys are imbibing with us.
Nothing beats a good smoky scotch.
Nicely done, Rob. Not a drop spilled. Love it.
Can't.
All right, guys. Let's get right into it. We're going to go ahead and roll through some of our favorite new arrivals that hit the site or are about to hit the site this week. Rob, I think you're going to kick us off, right?
We are. I was excited looking through the stacks this week because I thought we had a really good range of both very high-end things and some really nice accessible pieces.
Yeah.
You know, it's tough for us sometimes because we'll go in and we'll look at what's on the website and we're immediately drawn to like the almost unobtainable watches that we're lucky enough to see here at the
I feel like
store.
You're just throwing shade at me already.
No, I'm not. I mean, I've got some expensive stuff on this tray.
You do.
I mean, nothing is trust fund level, but like some expensive watches. But I feel like we got a great variety today of stuff that runs the gamut. And we've got old, we've got new, we've got rare, we've got standard production. So I wanted to start with this Omega, which is the new Speedmaster Flight Qualified. And I thought this was a really interesting watch because they took the basis for this from the 1969 Flightmaster, and they made this as just a military spec watch first.
Really?
So this was
the 60
not.
watch?
Yeah. So this watch
was that a Mark II Speedmaster? Or
no,
was
I'm talking about this watch that we have right here.
Oh, really?
So the first iteration of this watch was in 2024 and was a military-only issue, and they started to get leaked to Instagram, and it was probably all on purpose. But the story is that it was leaked to Instagram, and everybody thought it was incredible, and so now in 2025, we have this as a standard production.
That's wild. I had no idea.
Yeah, so this is one of the automatic coaxial speedies, although they did a solid case back on this, which I really, really like.
I mean, again, it's if the idea is that it's supposed to be military issue, that makes sense. You know?
We have a matte finish dial that's unlike anything I've seen.
It's not even matte. It almost has some like texture to it.
Yeah, it almost looks like a material blast or something, but obviously it's not that. But a beautiful matte finish on the dial, these super bold indices. Apparently, it is a burn rate indicator on the chronograph, which to me is so cool.
That's hilarious.
An old school aluminum bezel, which I love. Like, it just looks right. I love the plane on the end of the second hand. The altimeter style, running 60-second register. Like, everything about it is cool. Even the date at 6 o'clock, I think with the way this watch is, it works.
I think it's subtle enough that if that was a white date disc with black, it wouldn't work, but it blends nicely.
Yeah.
I honestly, personally, like, I love the pop of color. From the blue and yellow to the orange, like, it's like kind of whimsical with, like you said, with the plane on the seconds counter. It has just enough of like a mix of those vintage vibes that you were talking about from the 60s version, and modern flat link bracelet, so like the updated version of the earlier style.
And it's so good too because like the clasp isn't massive. Like, it's a nice size on the clasp. It's a good taper to the bracelet. There's a lot of modern bracelets where I feel like everything is great except the clasp, because then it has this giant bulky clasp on it. And this is like beautifully slim. It's very flexible, almost fluffy.
I feel like every single show we talk about how we like the new Speedmaster flat link.
We probably do
bracelet.
too much, but the last thing I'll say is I think it's really cool that it is clearly a very like specific purpose-built watch.
Yeah.
But it's not like you buy a Navitimer and somebody's like, whoa, that's so cool. How does it work? And you're like, I don't know.
I don't know how to use a slide ruler. Yeah.
This doesn't matter.
Well, because it doesn't actually do anything. It's just a chrono.
It does, though. If you're a pilot and the burn rate thing probably is super useful.
Right.
If you're, you know.
If there are any pilots out there, let us know. Would you trust your
Dude, doesn't
burn
John
rate
Travolta own like F-16s and stuff like that? So like, you know, people do have jets.
Okay.
Hobbyists.
Okay.
They're out there.
When you hop in your MiG to go
but
home.
But it's also not like the sole purpose of the watch. Like it's still just a cool chrono. So bravo, Omega. A really good job.
No, I agree. I agree. I like it a lot. Is that currently available on the website?
Yes.
Nice. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very nice, Rob.
Thank you.
So I will follow your lead, and I will go with something. I will start things off with something that is, I believe you would say, attainable and more of a watch for the populace.
It's approachable
for the people. Yeah,
it's approachable, right? It's always tough to talk about these things because we're in an industry where that price point of entry, you know, at least in terms of the brands that we carry, is high.
Oh, it's
right?
significant
like,
for sure.
They're expensive watches.
Yeah.
But your frame of reference starts to kind of shift a little bit when you look at kind of the range of things, even the range of stuff on this tray, where we go from 10K-ish up to 200K-ish.
Oh, no, way more. Are you kidding me?
For the
AP?
Oh, I forgot about the AP. Where is the AP?
It's right in the front.
No,
where is the AP?
price-wise.
Oh, it's not priced yet, but it'll be $350 plus probably. Yeah. Anyways, all right. Back to what I was saying. Gonna start it off with the new Parmigiani Tonda PF. This is the new 36 millimeter version. This is a killer little watch. Rob, go ahead and show that off. So it's funny. Parmigiani's a brand that like I never really connected with. There were never really any models that I was super interested in. And then lately, they've been coming out with a lot of really interesting stuff. And some of it has just been, you know, rehashing, you know, already existing models and just adding, you know, more kind of modern, interesting dial colors and some different functionality and whatnot. But I think they're doing really great stuff right now. So like I said, this is the Tonda PF 36 mil. So you get a 36 millimeter steel case, steel bracelet. It's only 8.6 mil thick, so it actually, like, this wears beautifully. It's got that stone, what they call their stone blue dial, which I think is stunning, actually.
Flat.
So you get that. So that stone blue dial is hand engraved with grain to orge, guilloche. So really, really beautiful. Yeah, if you catch it in the light, it's tough to see because it's very finely done.
I think you can see, though, how dynamic the dial is because it goes from like almost this like kind of battleship gray kind of thing, and then it can get almost into like an inky kind of dark blue, depending upon how the light hits it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about the skeleton, you know, the larger skeleton version of this watch, you know, a few weeks ago that we both like actually really loved.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just something about this 36 mil case. Like it wears beautifully. It's got enough detail from the dial engraving to that coin edge bezel, which I think like just pairs perfectly with all the decoration. And you know, automatic movement with a 60-hour power reserve. So like you're getting a really great you know, engine in there. And retail is 21,400 Swiss francs, which is like 26.5K. And we're listing it for $18,500. So like, you know, again, not insignificant money, but in the grand scheme of things, you're getting a really, really high quality, interesting, you know, model that not everybody's going to know what it is, and not everybody is going to recognize what that is.
If you're thinking, I want like a 36 mil Datejust style watch, but I don't want a Datejust because everybody has a Datejust.
There you go.
You know what's cool about this is no date, and I love no seconds.
Yeah, I do too.
I love the fact that this is just hours and minutes because there's something so like clean and pure about that, and it's almost like kind of zen to me. It's like time passes, but you don't need to be aware of it, you know?
I do think that, like you said, without that running seconds, without that date, it allows all those other seemingly small details really shine, and it creates this like really elegant, but at the same time like very wearable, very rugged, could be your daily interesting piece. So killer watch. Like I said, that's available right now for $18,500 on our website, and yeah, I'm a big fan. I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's really good. I found it interesting that they chose to do a different movement in this than they do in the standard PFs, and I wonder if that was a limitation of the case size, or if they wanted it to kind of distinguish itself from the bigger brother, like within their lineup, to kind of have more variety in there. Because it's not like one movement's better than the other.
I was going to say, it's not like one is better than the other.
The spec is pretty similar, other than micro rotor versus full rotor.
But I really appreciate that instead of just putting
recasing. That's what I mean. They didn't just recase
that movement. They actually developed, or I believe they did. They developed, not bespoke, but essentially a bespoke movement for this case, which, like, to me is like incredibly respectable. You know what I mean? Whenever a watchmaker does that, instead of just reheating another movement that they have on the shelf, like I really like that a lot.
Yeah.
So
cool. Alrighty, now we're going to step back in time. And we're going to go back to the quartz crisis.
This is such a good one. I was so excited that you chose this.
Oh, how could you not? So, back in the 80s, 70s into the 80s, the Swiss watch industry is struggling for relevance. And we get the Royal Oak, we get the Nautilus, we get the IWC Angenour as attempts for the Swiss watch industry to say we're still here. We get the beginning of the narrative of these things as heirlooms and luxury items, especially from brands like Rolex, which before that were very much like tool watches.
Well, even more so the Royal Oak. You know what I mean? It's for a brand to put out, or this brand to put out an all-steel watch at a luxury price. It was such a...
People were up in arms with how expensive that watch was. So while they're making that, they also took JLC's Caliber 920 and they started building their own movement off of that. And in 1978, they launched the world's thinnest ever automatic perpetual calendar. And then fast forward a couple years later, and that leads to the reference to
5657 BA.
You can't say it at the same time.
With the assist.
25657 BA for yellow gold.
Yeah.
These are known as the AP Quantium Perpetuals. And I mean, as a guy who thinks the 3940 is one of the greatest watches ever made, this falls right in line. This is... And AP,
it's the same design brief as the 3940, essentially.
Yes and no. AP was making this before the 3940. So while AP is making this, Patek is making the 3448 and the 3450, right?
That's actually crazy to think that the 3448 and the 3450 were being produced at the same time that AP was making this watch. It seems... Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Those two watches, I do actually. Those two watches from Patek feel so much more vintage than this does. This, yes, like you said, it's this one. This particular one is from '82. I think you said what they started making this in.
So we don't have the year on this one. This is a B serial. And the range of production for this watch, this reference was 1982 to 1993. So this is a dark time for Swiss watches, right? You don't see Breguets from this era. You don't see Jaegers from this era. A lot of places had kind of stopped making mechanical movements. And in fact, other than like houses like Jaeger, which weren't making watches, but they were still making movements, and places like Valjoux and ETA and things, there wasn't a lot of like movement makers on the scene because the whole quartz thing was really upsetting the natural balance. So this is a beautiful early series. You have these sunken subdials.
I was blown away because like we've seen a lot of these over the years now, and this is clearly an earlier one. And I wish I knew more about the different generations of this watch. I know that there are distinctive characteristics that specific serial ranges and years have, but this. Like you said, it's a B series, right? So we know that it's earlier in the production range, but those sunken subdials are so awesome, and it's such a cool
if you're
look.
a typography guy, like the fonts they used on this, and just the overall elegance of it. Like I feel like even the choice of handset, using those like beautiful, straight, thin hands, because you've got a case where everything is very elegant. You've got small, short lugs. You've got a small bezel. Nothing on here is heavy-handed. Nothing on here is over the top. It's like a true gentleman's perpetual. I love it.
It's killer. I love that watch so much.
Right?
It wears incredibly well with the tang, like with that original tang that's on there, that elongated kind of, AP style tang.
Absolute.
It's
perfect size.
Even though it's small, like, and there's a lot going on that dial, it's incredible.
Not small, it's 36.
No, but I know, but I'm like, it's so legible.
Thin.
It is very thin. We've seen the ones with, display backs that are, more highly
series,
that they're highly decorated, the rotors like beautifully engraved and everything. But there's something about these closed case back, these early ones, like we said, with those sunken subdials, just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The one that like lives rent-free in my head is the Clover.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen it, there's a version of this watch that basically has, I don't know how to describe it. It's like
a turtle shell.
It's like
it's a turtle shell.
It's like, and you get 4 individual subdials without the rest of the dial. Like I don't even know how to describe it. But look it up. Look up the APQP Clover or whatever. But yeah, it's funny because like there are so many little like wrinkles and like nooks and crannies of just
nuance.
Nuance, thank you. Yes, if you want to, use an SAT word, Rob. But no, there's so much nuance within this one product family that I just love like digging into those details. And yeah, that is an amazing watch.
And that example, like the hallmarks are crisp. It's perfect. It's perfect. And it's $22,000 or something like that on the website. Like it's an absurd price.
And it's funny
for a gold perpetual calendar from a Trinity brand.
And they have come up dramatically price-wise in the past couple of years. Like
I remember when they were 10 grand.
I was going to say, even 3-4 years ago, we were selling them for like 10 to like at the, if it was box papers, perfect, like maybe like 14, 15. But for what it is, for what you get, tons of watch for the money. Really, really love the APQP. So check it out on our website if you're interested in that one. All right. Well, now we're going to go to the complete opposite end of the AP spectrum.
Yeah. I figured that's why you put these back to back.
I did. I mean, we had to. All right. So if you couldn't see this on the screen, AP Royal Oak Tourbillon Extra Thin. This is the reference 26522ST. And obviously the distinctive characteristic of this guy is beyond that massive tourbillon aperture down at 6 o'clock, you get this crazy purple dial as well.
This is like out of this world.
It is.
Like legit out of this world. It is, I think a lot of people like to give AP a hard time when they start moving away from the original recipe of the Royal Oak.
Sure, the 39
like when they get away,
yeah.
Well, even just getting away from the tapestry, getting into the colors and stuff.
I wanted to mention this on this one. So, obviously, AP and especially the Royal Oak is known for that tapisserie dial, whether it's petite or grand at this point. This is really interesting though. So beyond the purple, if you look closely, you can see that it has like this interesting, it's still a tapisserie dial, but it's like an exploding tapisserie that, it like originates from the tourbillon down at 6 o'clock, and AP calls it their tapisserie evolutive dial. But I really like this. I think that this keeps like the special sauce of the Royal Oak intact, but just tweaks it ever so slightly to make it more special, more different. They don't use, they've almost never used this pattern. I think they've used it on one other model, and it was in precious metal. But yeah, I mean, this is just
it's wild they made this in steel, actually.
I know, right?
Because you don't often see something like this in steel. You would expect this to be in a full white gold case or a full platinum case. And the fact that they did it in steel, I think, is very cool, because Royal Oak is a steel watch, in my opinion.
It has to be, yeah.
It's bananas, and it fits perfectly.
It really, we've seen a number of these of the Royal Oak Turbs, in the 41 mil case, and this is my favorite. Like obviously the steel, the classic steel blue with the tourbillon down at 6 o'clock. I can't remember what the reference on that one. I think it's like a 26510 or something. That one's great, but I don't know. There's just like, again, it's got a little bit extra. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. This one is wild. Manual wind still. You know, you get a nice like almost 70-hour power reserve, I think, on it. It's 9 mil thick, so like. It's super thin still. Like it's crazy. This thing is crazy.
That is so thin. I'm not going to show the case back.
You actually get a power reserve. Yeah.
We should protect. Protect the clients.
So
as we always
visible
do.
through the case back, you actually get a power reserve indicator too, which I always think is hilarious.
That is
like,
very cool.
It's like when they put a moon phase on the case back.
Manual wind.
Yes.
So it makes sense.
It does. This one's not on the site yet. It's going to be coming very soon. It's going to be like unobtainable, obviously, but if you got deep pockets and you want to have an AP, a Royal Oak that no one else has,
first one of those we've ever seen.
It is
because like that's not a watch they're going to make a ton of.
No, gosh, not at all.
Very cool.
Yeah,
very, very cool. And again, anytime you can kind of keep. What an interesting blend of keeping the Royal Oak what it is, steel, that size case, super comfortable, lightweight, but then tourbillon, and then crazy purple exploding waffle dial,
right?
Which is now called the exploding waffle. Because, right, AP, if you could, it would make a waffle. That'd be a very cool waffle. If you had a waffle iron that looked like that.
I like that.
Cool watch.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good shout. All right.
Next up.
We got to hustle.
We do.
We're running out of time.
We don't have to do them all. It's okay.
Yeah. I think we should talk about another vintage watch, though. I think the vintage market right now is if you're a collector and you have a lot of very cool modern watches, or you're kind of like maybe you're bored with your normal stuff and you're like, what else is out there right now? I think the vintage market offers a lot of opportunity to get some really cool stuff.
Value, dude.
At low prices.
Crazy value right now.
People are not looking at stuff. So what I picked here is the Patek 3483. This is a 1960s watch. We have ordered the archive on this, but we don't have it yet. And the real deal, like the thing with this is that this is a steel Patek Philippe, which this is pre-Nautilus, this is pre-Royal Oak, this is really pre-sport watches coming from these brands. And Patek did not make a lot of steel watches.
No.
It is rumored that for this reference, there are about 500 examples out there.
Wow.
Which is nuts, right? That is super limited.
500 in steel?
And if you compare...
500 in steel or 500?
Of this 3483. They only made this watch in steel. They never made a 3483 in gold. No, this is only a steel watch.
I don't know why I thought they made a yellow gold one as well.
3483, 3466, which is basically the same watch, but with the sub-seconds. They're only steel. And what's very cool is if you look at these watches and you compare these to, say, the 565 or the 570, which is the gold watches of the time, the cases are completely different. The
this
570
is so much more angular.
Right, a lot more curvaceous in the other references and a lot more kind of interesting geometry. This is very like hard-edged. It's very flat surfaces and 90-degree angles. And I think that's because of the difficulty of working with steel back then, because the manufacturing process wasn't as advanced as it was today, and steel was a pain in the neck, right? It broke all your tools, and like nobody wanted to make steel watches. So Patek made a few. They made the A-magnetic. They made the two references I was talking about. And to me, again, like if the AP is your gentleman's perpetual, this is your gentleman's time-only watch.
Oh God, yeah.
No, like it's such a sleeper. But everything about it is so clean. The proportions are perfect.
The funniest thing is that walking down the street, someone's going to think you're wearing a Timex. You know what I mean? But it's...
You wouldn't look twice in this thing.
No, ever. Like, ever. But it's such, like Rob said, it's such a special watch.
Screw down case back.
That's the beauty of vintage, and like vintage Patek especially, but vintage in general, is that, again, there are all these little, like, nuances, again, that, like, you know that you're wearing, you know, a vintage Patek, that there are literally less than 500 of them in, you know, maybe 500 of them in the world, and everybody else just thinks you have, you know, some random swatch or Timex on or something.
I love a domed acrylic crystal.
Yeah. I
love a good, like, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's, if you're a tactile person, it's a fantastic feeling when you wind this watch. It's the 27 SC in here, which stands for center seconds. The best old school watchmaking money can buy. And like, I think these are undervalued today for something
What
where
is
there's
this?
only 500.
Is this listed on our site right now?
It is.
Okay. How much?
I do not remember the price.
Rob, you're killing me here, buddy. I'll look it up right now.
It is currently listed.
Vamp for a minute.
For something, what do you got, Ben? $29,900.
Okay, there you go. Wow, Ben.
$29,900.
Johnny on the
for
spot over
something
there. Love it. Thank you.
Where there's approximately 500 pieces out there.
Sure.
Genuinely rare, not like an Omega limited edition. We love you, Omega, which makes many watches. It's like that to me.
I agree. Again, vintage. We have let's do one or two more. We can this we can. It's not gonna take us the full amount of time, so we're good.
Okay.
All right.
I'm fine.
I gotta talk about my favorite RM, Rob. Come on.
All RMs are your favorite RM.
No. That is absolutely not true. All right. So this is actually crazy. We just listed it, and it's already pending sale, I think, as of like an hour ago. So had to show off the RM6701. So this is titanium. It's the RM67 extra flat. This is, in my opinion, the best RM, period. Like, it is the most wearable. It is the most restrained, but it has like all of the characteristics and interesting details that make RM what RM is. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. This. If you say RM, this is what pops into people's minds 90% of the time.
Yeah.
The tonneau shape.
Yes.
This crazy crown. And then the skeleton dial. And in this case, this compared to, that's the perfect shot right there. This compared to the 05 or the 10.
Yeah.
Like this is the watch that I put on my wrist and I was like, okay, I get it now.
Me too.
I understand why people go nuts for RM, because this thing, you could forget you're wearing this. It fits like a glove.
I've said it before that I would happily like liquidate all of my watches and just have one of these and just wear this, because it just works like there with you with it on your wrist with a suit. Totally makes sense. Totally works. T-shirt, jeans, doesn't matter. Like it's also like it's only 7.75 mil thick, so it's like it hugs your wrist incredibly well, just the shape of that case, in and of itself. Then you have this fully skeletonized dial and movement where you get to see all of the crazy inner workings of this watch. You get a platinum rotor, you get titanium base plate and bridges, loomed numerals, the date down at 5 o'clock, that weird kind of distinctive RM like clutch indicator thing that they do with the 3 different positions for the crown. It's just like, it just works in my opinion. It's such, look at that movement. Look at the movement.
Trying to be sneaky here.
I know, to not show off the serial number.
Because this is a very recent watch. But I mean, the thing that to me is really wonderful about Richard Mille is like, is this a hype watch? Yes. Yes, it is.
Of course.
It is a crazy hype watch.
This one lives up to it, though.
There is enough engineering and R&D and tech beneath the hood that I think it stands up to the pricing.
Totally.
Even like, where something like this is, where you're like, wow, that is a time-only watch. Well, time and date watch for the better part of $200,000.
Yeah, we had it listed for $193,500.
You can buy some serious complication for $200,000.
Yes, you can.
Right? You can buy some incredibly complicated watches, but there's something about this that you really can't put your finger on it. And it's like, this is really special. It really, really is. And so, I think that's why people who kind of like are willing to say, oh, Richard Mille, it's all hype, or like it's, rappers and athletes and whatever, blah, blah, blah.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong, but it's not all hype.
But it's, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
That in the O2, the TPT, is one of the most impressive watches I have ever held in my hand.
Yeah, the Sebastian Ogier, that one, amazing.
It was insane.
I know.
The
only thing that would make this better is if it was on the like elastic strap band thing that they do, as opposed to the rubber strap.
But I was talking to somebody else about that watch, and they're like, yeah, but then you're talking about $350K for a plastic watch. And technically, they're not wrong. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you really are into it and you really love it, it is really something to be appreciated. Yeah. It is incredible.
All right, I had to hit on that one. So unfortunately, that one is actually already pending sale, like I said. But they always come and go really quickly when we get them. But all right, We're gonna leave the rest of our new arrivals where they
Justin
sit.
wants to gloss over the Panerai.
Of course
I understand.
I do. Rob was saving it for last,
it was
but you know,
incredibly cool.
Sorry.
Ham 1940 chrono with a Minerva movement in it. You should check it out.
That is a good watch,
cool.
actually. We do need to talk about that at some point.
AP table clocks.
Because
check it out.
Come on, they're fun.
Check it out.
They're fun.
We've got an offshore table clock, which I thought was really cool.
And a code,
same size as the regular offshore.
Exactly. Yeah. They actually AP just took the strap off of a.
It's the same size,
offshore.
but we have an offshore table clock. Keep me there, and then we have the thing about this that's cool. This is a code 1159 tablecloth.
It's got the same crystal.
It has the double convex crazy crystal. I can't really show it here, but it's like, it gives you all those cool distortions at an angle, and you can choose to use these with the little flippy stand in the back, or you can rest them on this lovely wooden stand. Perfect for the holidays coming up. AP table clocks.
All right, so we wanted to continue on our little discussion of our favorite watches by decades. We did the 1940s, I believe, on our last show, doing the 1950s on this show. Obviously, like the 50s is kind of where, like when I start, that's kind of like where modern watches begin for me, if that makes any sense. There are so many iconic models from the 50s that it honestly was hard to think of. Because like, you know, you have the 5508 sub, you have, you know, I'm going to blank on all the other stuff. Yeah,
There's
I was
so
going to
many
say, hold on,
vintage
there's so many
Pateks
Pateks.
in the 50s.
The Seamaster 300 in 1957, you know, like I said, the small crown.
Speedmaster.
Yeah.
The, you know, number 57 themselves with the Speedmaster there.
Exactly.
And you get fantastic dress watches.
Mm-hmm.
You get the beginning of like a lot of these sport watches and stuff. Because before that, it was like the bubble back,
right?
You know, and the 1940s, I think you still get interesting things that kind of resemble modern watches. When you get into the 30s, it's a real different kind of ballgame. Because you had like, what'd you have? You had Cartier, you had JLC, you had, was Rolex starting to produce stuff in the 30s? Or were they 40s?
I think it was like, late 30s.
In terms of bubble backs and things like that. Like the wristwatch industry was still in its infancy at that point. So I agree with you that the 50s is kind of when we really start to see, especially a lot of the modern brands that we think of today.
And there are also so many models that are literally still in production today, you know, 75 years later, that, you know, bear a very a striking resemblance to the same model that was introduced in the 50s. So anyways, long way to say that I had a lot to choose from, and I went with the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, specifically the Aqualung, the Jacques Cousteau. Again, so much to choose from, and there's so many incredible stories, kind of like with all these different models, but
and even a little controversy.
There's a little bit of controversy, right? Was the 50 Fathoms the first dive watch? Did Blancpain bring it to market before the Submariner?
They were both 53.
Yeah, but the Rolex one, it's there's whatever. There's no discussion there. But anyways, the 50 Fathoms has such like a really interesting and unique kind of like origin story. So back in the early 50s, Blancpain CEO Jean-Jacques Fichter, he was an avid scuba diver, and he actually almost died while he was diving off the coast of Cannes in France. He basically almost ran out of air because he lost track of, he mistimed things, and you know he came back from that dive and basically became obsessed with the idea of developing a watch that was specifically designed for diving, and the 50 Fathoms is the watch that ended up being created.
Yeah.
What do you look very skeptical right now?
No, not at all. I'm listening with intention because I love the stories behind these things. To me, the thing that stands out as the coolest part about these watches is that with Rolex, you had a brand that had a lot of commercial success, and people would go buy Rolex at jewelry stores and things like that. The Blancpain 50 Fathoms never had that degree of success.
Right.
And so that was a watch that you either bought it at a dive shop, or it was issued to you as part of your kit.
I was going to say, so once the watch was developed, it was adopted by a number of different militaries for their naval frogmen and for a lot of other, kind of aquatic-based, servicemen and everything. But like you said, also, the other place that you would find them was at a dive shop. Yeah. Because they were essentially designed specifically for
that was a tool,
dives.
Right?
It was absolutely a tool.
boggles my mind, but people relied on these things to save their lives.
Right, which is hilarious to think about.
Like that's where the skepticism in my look comes from, is like thinking about this mechanical watch as being the thing that's going to save your life.
Right.
You know, and you got to like, and the bezels, like making sure that bezel doesn't rotate on you.
They didn't lock or anything. They weren't even all that tight. But yeah, so I mean, like obviously 50 fathoms.
You could see it underwater though.
Because it was radium, baby.
It was radioactive.
So 50 fathoms was essentially at the time, that was the recommended limit for recreational divers. I think I don't remember what the conversion is, whatever, but 50 fathoms. And so in 56, Jacques Cousteau wore one in his Oscar-winning documentary, The Silent World. So that's kind of where the Cousteau connection comes in. I'm like a huge Cousteau nerd, and I love that whole like little part of it that ties in. So for me personally, 1950 is what I think of is
the beginning of an era
fathoms. Totally.
Of dive watches, which now it's so commonplace, and yet to think of a world before those existed is kind of wild.
Yeah,
right,
like,
exactly. When there wasn't the sub and the 50 fathoms, and then everything that followed suit, Seamasters and all of that. So very cool, very important.
Incredibly
and boggles my mind that people lose their minds over vintage subs from the 50s, and yet the Blancpains from the 50s,
they're so affordable still.
They're kind of just hanging out, and people are like not going for it.
And I don't think that there's not the same level of nerdery around all the different little variations. There is in like very, very specific of Blancpain collectors.
Small circles.
Those guys go totally crazy for it, but with Rolex, it's so much more widespread. Yeah. All the little variations, all the little like tweaks and funky little details, whereas the 50 fathoms has all the same, like the same level. You can go as deep as you want to on them, from lips to aqualungs to like all these different, the Waltham thing, exactly.
If you don't know about that, the Blancpain Waltham thing, and then the Tornik Rayville thing, like there's a lot of cool history there if you're nerdy like we are.
Yeah, so if you want to go if you want to nerd out, go ahead and dive into the 50 fathoms history.
So, as one would expect, while Justin picks a truly fabulous sport watch, I chose to go the refined gentleman's approach.
Right.
And I went with Patek Philippe Gilbert Albert.
This is the Gilbert Albert. Gilbert Albert. Gilbert Albert.
So Gilbert Albert was a jeweler who joined Patek in 1955 at only 25 years old.
That part boggles my mind.
This was the Henry Stern era, and this was the jet set era.
Of course.
And he was looking at the 1950s and at the car designs and at things like that, and he was incorporating them into wristwatches in the most fabulous way.
Yeah.
His designs had names like Ricochet, the Flying Saucer, the Futuriste, and the Tutti Frutti, and then what you're seeing here is the Asymmetrique, which is like, I mean, that to me is the coolest thing that anybody has ever made, ever. Like, that's just, blah.
So all of his designs, I think, are like, they're so iconically 1950s. Like, you could not look at any of these, really, that we're showing on the screen right now and think, and wonder what era that came from. It's such a distinctive look.
Yeah.
So I love the, this is the 3483 or 2?
3524.
Oh man, I wasn't even close. I should have known that.
That's okay. They don't come up that often.
But all of like the little pocket watch ones and like the Ricochet and some of the triangular one that he did, like again, like they're wild. And this is not what you expect from Patek.
No.
It's so funny that really since then there are very few models from Patek that have even close to this level of creativity, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but like have shown this level of individuality, this level of creativity.
I think there's a real lack of people doing cool stuff with cases in general. Like you just don't see that much of it anymore, which is sad because I look at something like that and I'm like, man, that's the special sauce. And you know what's cool is that his jewelry brand came after this.
Really?
So Patek was actually like his first kind of big thing, and he made all that stuff, and then he started his own brand, making his own jewelry. He was very known for like taking inspiration from nature, using natural products, being very sculptural with it. And if you look at the Patek watches and the cases he made, they're very much in the same thing.
Totally.
So I thought it was an incredible, and I wrote down this quote that he said, which is that in the enchanted world of jewelry, every piece must be original in its execution. And I think that sums it up beautifully. Like, to me, there's a lack of that in the watch world right now, like original execution. And I do not want to run a major Swiss watch brand. I do not envy those people. I do not think it is an easy job because like it's an industry that, if you think about watches and clocks in general, it's 200 years old. How do you do something new, right? Like, that's really hard. But that's why, like, Panerai,
that's the way.
With their cushion case, Richard Mille with the tonneau case, which they now own, Cartier with the
shaped cases,
asymmetric, the crash, the cloche, stuff like that. That, to me, is the stuff where I look at that and I'm like, yo.
The concept of bringing in an outsider, in this case, a 25-year-old is crazy, but like bringing a total outsider and just being like, here, like, do something cool.
Yeah.
I wish more brands did that in a more sustainable way, as opposed to like bringing in like bringing in Cause or whatever and doing like that stupid.
I think it's hard today. I think it's much harder to like convince shareholders and all of the guys keeping the books that that's a good idea.
All privately held companies,
right? But still, they still don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that was
Gilbert Albert.
serious pick. I respect that. All right, so that's actually a great segue because we want to go ahead and share with you our interview with Albert Ganjei, founder and president of European Watch Company. We sat down with Albert and chatted through a little bit of his background, his backstory, and then we got into some of his collection, which was super, super fun. You're gonna see some things that, like, honestly, they blow even our minds. We didn't even scratch the surface with him, and I think we sat down for over an hour. We're gonna put the full interview up on on our YouTube channel at some point in the near future. But there's also, keep an eye out for part 2, which we will absolutely do with him because there's so much more that we want to talk to him about, and that I know he wants to share with us too. But anyways, we hope you enjoy our chat with Albert Ganjei. Today, Robert and I are extremely pleased to be able to sit down with founder and president of European Watch Company, Albert Ganjei, to have a little conversation. We want to introduce the team to you guys, and we thought where better to start than with the man himself. So, Albert, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure.
We want to go ahead and talk a little bit about the history of EWC, your journey in watch collecting and in the watch industry, but I think we have to start off with what are you wearing on your wrist today?
Oh, as usual for the last 15 years, a Blancpain Tourbillon, stainless steel, manual wind, 8-day power reserve.
Number one, right?
Number one.
Number one.
That's every day. So
Yeah, yeah.
It's light, and it's a screw down crown, screw back, waterproof. I'm a little clumsy in the old age, you bang into the doorknob, so this is safe and legible.
Yeah.
Not many companies make a tourbillon in steel.
And waterproof.
Yeah.
Right, not an easy thing to find.
The Albert Ganjei signature watch, though. Yeah, the Blancpain Tour.
It's been having it for 15 years almost.
Yeah. So, do you remember what your first watch was?
The very first watch, I don't.
No.
Just guessing, I'm sure it was a mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
And it was probably some sort of a Seiko, maybe Seiko 5 or something.
Yep, of course.
Went through that through high school probably. In Seiko 5, you had to know what time it is. That's the only way it was wearing the watch back then. Not too many other brands, but all mechanical.
Yeah.
And it was a major shop repair near my dad's work in the main square. And they had all sorts of watch cleaning machines like you one you see. All that stuff of repairing watches, and wow, always interested.
So yeah, I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit about early life in Iran and what brought you here to the U.S.?
Well, I came to study in 1977.
Yeah.
I went to I studied civil engineering, architectural, and I came to extend my education. So as I graduated, my boss, which was also a civil engineer from Germany, and I learned a lot from him.
Yeah.
Basically, he was the one who introduced me to finer things.
Really?
Yeah. He had the two-tone Rolex, so they just back in the days, and use alligator bells and all that, all the fine things in life.
Sure,
German educated.
Yeah.
First study a few months of English to pass TOEFL in New York City.
Yep.
Then went to Pratt Institute, architectural.
Mm-hmm.
And then my mom came to visit. We went to see of my friend in Rhode Island, at the University of Rhode Island. And I saw for the first time I studied US.
Outside of New York City.
Out of New York City. In the 70s, it's dark.
Sure.
Bored. And so I said, I want to be in New York City. So I came to URI and studied civil engineering.
Mm-hmm.
That was architectural, civil engineering. I had both majors.
Mm.
And they didn't take a lot of my credits because they had to protect their own credits.
Mm-hmm.
But all I studied mostly with German standard, Stahl-Hochbau, German standards, metric.
Yeah.
And it was all American. Neidisch. I was beginning of computers. MIT had like a program which we used to run in IBM 370 for structural analysis.
Yeah.
So that was a little fun. I said, wow, this is where the world is going. So I'm not learning much from this civil engineering. I mean, if I ever want to stay in the US, it's not a good business to be in.
Mm.
So I dropped everything and went to computer science.
Interesting. What an exciting time to be kind of in that world and kind of getting into it. Like you said, I mean, the real, not necessarily the birth of computing, but when things really started to take off and kind of, grow and expand.
It was beginning of computer science.
Yeah.
So we didn't have actually a building. We were in the basement of math department.
Really?
And most of the course were math related. Molecular controls, error propagations, and all like a lot of heavy math.
Yeah.
We had to learn assembler language. We always write own compilers. It's
Oh my
like
God.
Very, very basic.
Yeah.
Basic.
It was still a very like manual process back then, right?
Yeah, punch cards.
Yeah.
Dispatch counter is called. You take a deck to the dispatch counter. There's a young lady there, give them a deck. It runs in the machine. Card readers give you the black back, and half hour later, your output was printed. IBM printers.
The interesting thing for I don't know, I don't want to speak for Rob, but I think for both of us is, we've been here for a long time, but even when we started, there were people that had been your clients for 25 years or 20 years at that point, which is, that's just so unusual and it doesn't happen. And people,
I don't want to name them, but 25 years.
But it's unbelievable. Of course, yeah, they're amazing. They're just as important as members of the staff, key members of the staff. And what makes European Watch Company so special, and the ethos that you kind of created that keeps these people coming back, and like you've said that some of your best clients are, you look at them as your friends, you know what I mean? And they really truly are.
Go to their weddings.
You've been in their weddings.
Bar mitzvahs.
Yeah.
Go to their many, many weddings.
Yeah, birthdays, dinners.
Weddings. And when now some of them seem like you're pain in the neck, you say, you can't miss with this guy.
Exactly, yeah.
He's my buddy.
Right.
So for the last 25 years. So
but what is the philosophy, I guess, that is like, that you brought, to European Watch Company, that what you created, what you built, the mentality that really attracted these people and then allowed you to become friends and, just really like kind of endear these clients to the company?
Well, to begin with, the collecting money was not that easy as now.
Right.
So we had to take a guy's credit card.
Sure.
A lot of fraud. So what I did was try to make friendly with them. So actually who they are, what do they do,
Yeah.
where they live, how many kids they have,
Yeah.
how many kids I have.
Yeah.
If you just get me friendly, so they made us friendly so I can trust the guy.
Yes.
This is before Google.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much left.
Well, and that kind of ties back to, the whole ethos of what you've created. It's always been customer service driven. It's always been, how can I best serve the client, and how can I, make this a pleasant interaction? How can we have fun? How can this be an enjoyable thing for somebody, as opposed to, trying to cut every single margin point and figuring out where to squeeze a client and whatnot. Right. And that's why you have this book of clients who are your friends,
Same thing with the staff, they have fun.
Right. Well, you've said it, like we do, exactly. Like, look what we're doing. Yeah. But you've also, when it comes to staff, you never hired salespeople. It's always people that were passionate about watches, and that's worked out just fine. I mean,
And they're true, honestly family to me.
yes, yeah, and we all feel it, really. I mean, it's yeah, that feeling is definitely still alive and well here at EWC 30 plus years later. So, well, we definitely need to get into talking about some of your favorite pieces. You know, as a guy who's seen I mean, first of all, number one, Blancpain Tourbillon on the wrist.
It's not because number one. It's just like
That's just an extra cool point, though.
It's just like extra cool point.
Yeah. But so you've been in the industry for so long now. You've seen all, I mean, the stuff that we dream about. You know, you've seen it all. You've handled it. What kind of still excites you in the watch world these days? What is there anything that you're still looking for, Albert?
Well, not as of a couple of hours ago. First of all, it has to be rare.
Yes.
Has to be interesting and nothing too complicated.
Yeah.
So mix it an hour.
Sure.
You know, I'm not looking. Also, I want to make sure that I'm not tying up inventory too much. Already am a lot, and make sure I can afford it.
Yeah. So I mean, you've picked a pretty ridiculous selection of pieces here.
If you notice,
Tell
all
us about 'em.
unrelated. One thing they have in common is no deploying buckles.
Yeah, well, I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, give me a tang on almost anything.
And because the has to be hard to get, mostly vintage or rare pieces. Should I start showing something?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Do you want to start with the Gilbert Albert? I feel like that's such an iconic piece, and it beyond when I think of you and when I think of watches that are Albert Ganjei watches, beyond the Blancpain Tourbillon, my mind immediately goes to the Gilbert Albert.
So I've been telling Josh I want this watch. Not this watch, but Gilbert Albert.
Yes.
I don't wear anything yellow.
All white metals.
All white metals.
Yep.
It's nothing wrong with gold. Just a personal
Just a
choice.
taste, yeah.
And probably 10 years ago, I decided to let go of all my yellow, brown jackets and shirts.
Yeah.
There's no clothing that is brown.
That's true. You're all like blue and
It's always blue.
black, maybe some gray. Yeah, yeah.
That's it. But no blue. I have a couple of camel like jackets, but that's it.
Yeah.
No brown shoes either. So this watch came into auction at Philippe's, and
You were looking for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
long
remember
time.
for years.
For years, and either they're usually gold, have diamonds on the sides, or the dial is faded, or
Staining or whatnot. Yeah.
You also don't often see this shape because Gilbert Albert made a lot of different shapes and cases for Patek. And this is what I always think of, this offset asymmetric case here, as like the Gilbert Albert. And you don't see these as often as you see like the Ricochet or you see the triangular ones. Like you'll see some of those that are, in my opinion, a little less attractive than this. This, to me, I'll never forget the first time I learned about this watch. I was sorting straps here back in my first year here, and I found this Patek strap that was cut at all these weird angles. And I asked Tony, I was like, who messed up this strap? This thing is terrible. And he was like, no, that's for a Gilbert Albert. And then he showed me in the old like catalog book or whatever these watches. And
I don't know if this before Hamilton or Hamilton was after.
Hamilton was before,
that's
I
also
think.
the 50s.
That was the 50s. But Gilbert Albert was the 60s, wasn't it?
No, he started in the
No, he
50s.
started
Oh, okay.
50s.
That's
It
in the
was made in
50s.
the
About this. Okay. So about the same time, though. But yeah.
and the auction was on, and my phone, and I had to pay more than I wanted to.
Yeah.
And for my 70th birthday, and I finally bought it.
Added it to the collection.
A collection.
That's honestly, for me, like you're saying, I think probably one of the most attractive Gilbert Albert variants, and it's the most wearable as well.
Yeah.
You know, it
This
really
size
just
is great.
it fits so beautifully on the wrist.
Not that I wear it much, but
That's okay. When you do, it's just that special.
well, the biggest problem was they have two different size straps.
Right. Completely.
So I had to mess up with two different Patek straps to fit it. Finally, Camille Fournet made me a strap that's the same grain,
That matches all the way.
and I haven't done it yet. Haven't installed it yet.
What else on this trade jumps out? I don't know, Rob, is there anything for you that jumps out at you?
So the two that I want to mention more than anyone,
Sure.
besides, first of all, there's a 34 millimeter Blancpain Tourbillon also, 8-day power reserve, also stainless, also number one.
Yeah.
Probably piece unique. I don't know of any
Yeah,
other
steel.
made in stainless.
Yeah.
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 So is it fair to say is Blancpain is still your favorite brand or manufacturer?
You know, I'm not really, maybe I'm different, but I think large size watches,
Yeah.
it's just following fashion.
Yeah.
And a collecting watch has nothing to do with fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So if the caliber fits in this case,
Yeah.
it should be in this case.
Yeah.
Making it 34, it doesn't make it better. It makes it, this is much, much more
That's
difficult
so
to
much
make,
more difficult.
to make than making the 44.
Yeah.
So
Constraint.
people come to sales even upstairs and say, oh, my wrist is too big. I cannot wear 38, you say.
Rob and I regularly wear 36 or smaller, you know, like, yeah.
I wear 34 in summer.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the standard Patek Calatrava for decades and decades and
3.5.
decades was
96.
30.5.
Or 30 and a half.
was
Yeah, not even 33. Yeah.
tiny.
back into Rodolphe Valentino.
Yeah.
Rudolph Valentino at days of 1920s or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
To a small watch.
Right, exactly. But like you said, it's so much more difficult for a manufacturer to make not even a highly complicated piece like a tourbillon, but
That's
to create it in such a
Yeah.
small case, that is difficult.
And 8 days.
Yes.
8 days. And
One-
that's what,
one
under
barrel.
10 mil.
Yeah.
Well, not
Under
only
10
that,
mil thick.
every turn is 1 day.
Right. The best part.
Best part.
Yeah.
Every time I have to turn it.
Rob and I just
8
talked
turns.
about
There
this
you go.
recently.
Unbelievable.
It's, you know, a
Exactly.
normal watch with
No
an 8-day
friction.
with, you know, an 8-day power reserve, you're gonna have to wind it 40, 50, 60
56
times.
at best.
This is eight revolutions of the crown, and you get a fully wound
Right.
movement, which is pretty spectacular.
So you said there were 2 you
Yeah, what
wanted
was
to
the other
point
one?
out. So that's one. What's the second one?
And the holy grail for me has always been 1463, Patek Philippe in stainless steel.
Yeah.
And this is the rarest piece I have.
This is also
Let's check.
one of the most stunning examples too. It is beautiful.
And is minty condition.
Yes. Absolutely.
Never seen any watch of this age and this condition.
It's so sharp. And again, like, it's the right size. It's a vintage Patek chrono. It's so special, so rare. But then to find it in this condition is like next
this
level.
1940s?
40s.
Yeah.
I'd have to thank
Insane.
Philips and staff and management who let me have.
Yeah.
They know who they are. For the barbecue days,
The barbecue days. We got a barbecue watch here.
Short days. I can't wear any of the plastic ones, but I do wear a Newman,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I wear this Bakelite.
That Bakelite, this one, so 6542 Bakelite bezel gilt. This is another
Radio.
that radium, right? Radium. This is another one that the condition is better than almost anything I've ever seen when it comes to, you know, a vintage GMT. It's incredible.
And to have
Incredible.
the first reference
Yeah.
Right.
that they ever made to me is such a cool thing. And in a condition where you don't see these bezels,
Right.
because at one point the government came out and said no more radium
Mhm.
because it's very dangerous, it's
Right.
very bad. And they sent out letters saying, if you're registered as having purchased this watch, if you send it to us, we'll remove the bezel and put on a
Free of
safe,
charge.
bezel for you.
Aluminum.
And that was the first aluminum bezels. And so most of these bezels were destroyed.
And then the ones that did survive, Bakelite, just by its nature, is so
Also destroyed.
so delicate because they just destroyed themselves.
Water
but-
and under them and discolored.
Right, or they cracked or whatever. But yeah, that and the dial on that one is
Gorgeous.
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I want to ask you about the humble Air-King
Mm,
that you decided to put on this tray.
yeah.
Humble Air-King was this to me was Rolex.
Mm.
Yeah.
This one, like the watch, is still, if I ever wear a modern Rolex, would be this size
Mhm.
Yep.
on the same band. And brings memories from years and years ago with my father. My dad had a Omega stainless steel with a gold numbers, stainless steel number, and stolen from him. And when I could afford to when I had the European Watch Company, almost 20, probably 20 years ago. I bought him this because I liked it the most. So I bought it for him.
Yeah.
And then he passed.
Right.
And my dad passed. I wear it, and I wear it in the month that he was passed. You know, every year for a month or a week maybe. I wear this for his memory, and it's a watch probably he'll never sell.
I hope not.
Manual wind. So
That's, I've said it many times, but I think that is really what all of this stuff comes down to, is the fact that they begin to become more than just a watch.
Yeah.
Right? It transcends that. And it's like, this watch is that tangible memory of your dad.
Yep.
That you can pick up, you can strap on, and it's like carrying a piece of him with you, even though he's gone. Right? And that's why, I know you've said it too, that like part of the reason you wear this tourbillon all the time is that we all think of this as your watch.
Right.
right.
And you know, when the time comes, this will always be Albert's watch.
Right, that's right.
And that's the
None
most
of those were.
magical.
No.
Right. That's
one.
the most magical thing about all of this stuff,
That's
is
why I do
that
it.
that becomes, because especially as a guy, there's not much, and in this modern era where everything we buy is disposable and obsolete in 2 years, there's not much that we buy that we really keep for a long time. How many things do you own that you've had for 15 years?
Yeah, not many.
And you've had this watch and you've worn it for 15 years.
Do you know why watches and not pens?
Oh, why watches and not
Because
pennies?
watches tick like your heartbeat.
Interesting.
It's got a life.
Again,
Right.
it's the life force. It's back to that emotional
It ticks.
connection to
And I'm
pieces.
sure a lot of our clients collect watches for their next generation.
Yeah.
And that's what has been going on all for the last many, many years with
Right.
pocket watches. You know,
Yep.
the grandfather doesn't leave his cane or car or anything for
Right,
the children.
right.
Instead, the watches, because watches were ticking when he was ticking.
Right. Yeah, I love that.
When you get older, you probably realize it more. That's why
A little bit of perspective, I
one of the
guess.
reasons I wear this every day.
Yeah.
It's my watch.
It's a beautiful thing. I love it. I love it. Albert,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
That's
for
it.
That was
your story.
That was amazing.
and your collection.
That was so exciting. I love getting to talk through your watches, kind of the story of EWC and where we've been and where we're going. And
Thank you so much. Thank you.
yeah, that was
Your
a blast.
story is unique, and I think that's why European Watch Company is unique. And I'm so glad we got to share this
Yeah.
with everybody.
So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed our conversation with Albert Ganjei. Like we said, we barely scratched the surface with him. There are so many more stories from the birth of EWC,
You
his
can't-
time in the industry.
You can't fit 30 plus years of watch industry experience into, an hour
No.
or even an hour and a half.
And that's
whatever
also
it
only
was.
a very, very small selection of some of the watches that he wanted to talk about. So we'll definitely be sitting down with him again to get some more insight and some more stories and some more watches. But we hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. We really, really appreciate it. Be sure to give us a follow. Go ahead and subscribe. Turn on your notifications. Do all the things that people on YouTube ask you to do. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll do this all again.
See you next time.
All right, see you guys.